Hello, it's me, Caitlin of Sass and Cellulite. Welcome to another episode of Dose of Sass. I'm really excited for today's conversation. It's one that I've been thinking about for a while and trying to figure out where to start because there's so much to say. This may end up being multiple parts, so consider this part 1 of a little series. Today we are going to start broaching the conversation of internet body content. What do I mean by that? I mean content that falls all under the umbrella of body positive, self-love, body confidence, body acceptance, body fill in the blank. I didn't want to call it body positive content as a whole because that's not all that I'm talking about. And two, I'm about to explain the differences between body positive and body positive on the internet. But this conversation is all encompassing of generally body content on the internet. So the first thing I want to talk about, and I've explained this in my previous episode about quote unquote body positive influencers announcing their weight loss journey, that there is a difference between body positivity, the internet edition, and body positivity, the real life thing. So if you're unfamiliar, body positivity is a social justice movement first and foremost. It was created for equal rights and equal access for all sorts of marginalized bodies. Basically anyone who's not thin, white, straight, that's who they're seeking equal representation, equal rights, equal access for. But that might not be what you think of when you consume body positive content on the internet. Because I didn't even know this at first. When I first jumped on social media, at least sharing my personal journey just before 2020, I started to discover this body positive corner of the internet. And I hadn't even heard that word before. I think a lot of us hadn't heard that word before. What is this? And it was introduced to me in the context of people showing their insecurities, people sharing their bodies in unposed versus posed versions, people showing up unapologetically in the body that they got. And I was like, whoa, this is amazing. I love this. This is just what I was looking for. And I even started using hashtag body positive, hashtag body positivity, because I was like, yeah, me too. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to love my body at any time, any place, anywhere, anyhow. And it didn't take very long for me to discover, oh, wait a second. Body positive actually has deeper roots than I thought. And it's actually not about me because I'm still relatively thin and white and straight. So maybe I shouldn't be using these hashtags because that's not actually the place for me. Which then begins the fun internet debate of who gets to post body positive content. Isn't body positivity for everyone? No. I'm sorry, I'm going to say that right now. It's not. I'm going to dive into other body fill in the blank areas that are welcome for everyone. But body positivity itself, the movement, is not for thin white women. Sorry, not sorry. I say this to you as a thinnish white woman. Obviously, I'm plus size. I am not anywhere near thin. But in terms of there's a fat scale. It's called the fat spectrum, and there's 4 categories, to my understanding. There's a few of these I've seen on the internet. Small fat, which is about the 1x, 2x range, which is where I fall. Mid fat, which is like 2x, 3x. These don't have weight limits to them. It's really more about sizing. Then we have super fat and infinifat. So that's kind of, when I say thin-ish, I mean I fall in the small fat category, technically. Technically being a loose term. These are still all made up categories. So body positivity, no, it's not for me. And that's why you see me using terms that fall like body acceptance, body confidence. Similar ideas, because yes, the idea that everyone is allowed to love themselves exactly as they are, yes, is absolutely for everyone. Don't get me wrong. Self-love is for everyone. Body acceptance is for everyone, but body positivity movement is not for thin white women. But, not according to the internet. According to the internet, that's exactly who it's for. That's only who it's for, actually. I literally just this morning, I looked up to prove my point. I typed in body positivity in my little Instagram search bar, and I found so many thin white women. It took me several scrolls to find anyone that was even in a larger body, and I found no people of color. So that's the state of body positivity on the internet. So getting that all out of the way, then technically it's not for you. Let's talk about this type of content because I have some thoughts and feelings about whether it's really harmful or helpful. If we can get past the bottom line that thin white women shouldn't be the center of this conversation, now let's talk about the conversation. Like I said, when I first got on the internet, I was really encouraged by this type of content. And this type of content, I mean the thin white women sharing a posed and an unposed version of themselves. A version where they're sucking in their stomach and a version where they're just letting themselves breathe. A version where they're standing up straight and posing at the gym, and a version where they're sitting down with their leggings rolled down. I tell you, this was encouraging to me at the time because this was brand new information for me. I had never seen this kind of stuff on the internet before. And so I was like, whoa, this is so cool. Like, I love that people are posting and sharing this kind of stuff because, yeah, I'm so tired of just seeing the posed version. I'm so tired of only seeing the flexed, sucked in, filtered, edited version, right? So it was refreshing, but it didn't take me long to realize at the same time as realizing, oh, wait, this is not true body positivity. I'm still bigger than the unposed version of themselves. Yeah, they've rolled their leggings down and now their stomach is showing, but their stomach that they're sticking out, that they've had a full meal, oh no, look at my burrito baby, is still like smaller than I've ever been. And so if that kind of content has ever like rubbed you the wrong way because you realize I'm still bigger than the biggest quote unquote version of yourself, than the ugliest quote unquote version of yourself, the version you would never post, and I'm bigger than that? I look like that all the time? Hmm. That's telling. Because here's the thing, they would never post that unposed, unfiltered, just existing version without the side by side of look, but don't worry guys, I actually can pose and be cute and sexy and skinny. What it's actually doing is going, don't worry, I know that I live in a thin, attractive, fit looking body, and you're inevitably going to compare yourself to that, but don't, because look, I have stretch marks. Because look, when I sit down and shove out my stomach and bend over so that I have fake skin rolls and I'm hunched over in some unnatural position, look, I can look like that too. Huh? But they would never just post that. That's not even a natural position. That's not even a candid photo. It's another version of posing. So without the side by side, the proof that I can be thin and pretty, that's the only reason that the quote unquote unpretty version is allowed. So then the comments differ. If I posted the same kind of photo, actually, there was one that I was going to recreate as an example where a girl is bending, she's like leaning on the counter and she's wearing this bodycon blue dress. And in one version, the left side of the photo, it's showing she's got like a sucked in flat stomach. And in the right side of the photo, she's letting her stomach out. And, she has a stomach. And I took the same photos. I put on my bodycon blue dress. I leaned over my counter. And I sucked in my stomach as hard as possible. Spoiler alert, it's still there. And it's still bigger than her unposed version. And then I did the regular version. There's like barely any difference between my sucked in stomach and my actual stomach. And they're still never gonna be flat. If I posted those side by side, people might not even notice the difference. The message that accompanies these side by side photos is, yes, this is 1% of me, and this is another 1% of me. Like, both are okay. Yeah, but which 1% are you going to post on the internet? Which 1% would you put in a dating profile? I know which one. So do you. And while that's super helpful, I'm sure, for our own mental health and our own body image, in reality, you're only okay with it because you know you only look like that 1% of the time. That's the difference. I have a stomach 100% of the time. I can't pose it away. I can't suck it in. I can't pretend it doesn't exist and then pop it out when it's convenient for me to make social media content. And so pops in the question again, but Caitlin, isn't body positivity for everyone? Isn't that helpful for someone? I'm sure it is. Actually, I'm sure it is helpful for those creators. If you exist in that size body, it probably is helpful to go, oh yeah, I was feeling a little bit bad about myself today because I'm bloated. But don't worry, like so and so looks the same. All good in the hood. But it's not helpful for like the vast majority of us that are not that size. And here's the thing, here's the other thing, and I don't mean to offend anyone when I say this, but it is easier to preach self-love, body positivity, body acceptance when you are in a thinner body. Why? Because you have representation everywhere. You can shop anywhere. You see yourself in every single TV show and movie. You see yourself on magazine covers. Even if, yes, you might not be the filtered, sculpted magazine cover model, but you're not a stranger to seeing yourself represented in media. At the end of the day, your body is still societally acceptable. No one is going to point and yell at you in public. Nobody's going to stop you when you're on a walk with your dog and say, "Good job, keep going. You must be on a walk because you're on a weight loss journey and you're exercising to lose weight and you should be looking smaller. Good job, keep it up." Thin person's walking down the street, nobody's going to be like, "Congrats." That's what I mean. It is easier to love yourself in a society that accepts you. It is harder to love yourself in a society that doesn't. If you are in a larger body, if you don't have access to healthcare, if you have to buy 2 plane tickets in order to fit on the airplane, if public spaces aren't accommodating to you, that it makes life so much harder because we're not just fighting with our own internal body image issues, we are fighting with systemic oppression. So that's what we mean when we say body positivity isn't for everyone. Yes, self love is for everyone. Yes, everyone in every body size struggles with body image issues, but there is a difference between struggling with body image issues and systemic oppression. So, as far as internet body content goes, I don't love the side by side posed versus unposed versions because it's still insinuating that the previous version, the smaller version, is the better version. And here's the thing, it's not just about posing and unposing. It's about some of the messages that are relayed as well, because it's never just, don't worry, both versions of yourself are okay. There's also the like, don't worry, you're not fat, you have fat. You also have toes, and you're not toes. First of all, what? Yes, I am fat, because I choose to use the word fat as a neutral descriptor, such as saying I am blonde, I am tall, I am fat. Same context. But the reason they're allowed to say that is because they aren't fat. They do just have fat. They preach these messages of, don't worry, girl, you're not fat, that's your uterus. You're supposed to have a thin layer of fat there to protect your organs. Okay, well, what about those of us who have a thick layer there? Have a whole stomach there. You're not fat, you're just sitting down. I'm fat standing up too, actually. Fun fact. And that's the difference. They are able to separate themselves from being fat because they don't actually want to be and they don't want you to be either. So they're going to encourage you that you're not. You're not fat, you're beautiful. Oh, my least favorite phrase of all time. Fat is not the opposite of beautiful. Those are not antonyms. I didn't say I was ugly, I said I was fat. But the message difference in the creators who are in thin white bodies sharing, you're not fat, you're beautiful. You're not fat, that's your uterus. You're not fat, you're sitting down, is being fat is their biggest fear. So they're going to reassure you as long as they can that you're not. So what about those of us who are in fat bodies? Where's our space on the internet? And that's where I found myself in this kind of body acceptance, body confidence corner because unfortunately, body positivity, the train has left the station on the internet. We could never get it back. We could never get it back to centering who it's actually about. So that train has left the station. I choose to not participate in that corner of the internet. So I like to stick in the cute little body confidence, body acceptance corner of the internet because that seems to be much more inclusive, much more diverse, much more realistic. So those are the terms that I use to describe my content. So what's the difference? Body positivity centers on loving your body every day, every angle, all the time, everywhere, exactly as it is. And that's wonderful. But it's not necessarily accessible or realistic. Body acceptance, on the other hand, is not about loving your body. It's about accepting that you exist, truthfully. Body positivity doesn't leave a lot of room for bad body image. Body acceptance and body confidence and fat acceptance lean into the fact that we live in a society that does not treat fat people well, that stigmatizes weight, and it's okay to exist. That's what those terms categorize. Body acceptance and body confidence come with a lot more practical steps. Instead of looking in the mirror and going, yep, I love it every single day, which is not realistic, it's looking in the mirror and going, do I like what I'm wearing? How do I feel in my body right now? If I'm feeling uncomfortable, where is that feeling coming from? Is it coming from the fact that I spent a lot of time scrolling last night and now I'm comparing my body to this girl I watched a bunch of workout videos of last night? Is it coming from the fact that every single day on my Instagram I get hate comments that tell me to go to the gym? Is it coming from the fact that I'm scared to go to my doctor's appointment today because they're going to weigh me and I really don't want to see the number on the scale? All of that impacts our body image, impacts our ability to look in the mirror and like what we see. And so, body acceptance, body confidence, fat acceptance leans into the idea that you don't actually need to love yourself all the time, but you are allowed to exist and you are allowed to be confident. So, that's where I like to land with my content. Another kind of avenue for this, another aspect of body content on the internet is body neutrality. If you're unfamiliar with body neutrality, and this is a little bit, I kind of go back and forth between body confidence, body neutrality, is body neutrality aims to detach your self-worth from your image. Body positivity, body acceptance still center your body as the thing that's deriving value, the thing that's determining your worth. What body neutrality seeks to do is to go, actually, your body is kind of the least interesting thing about you, actually. Yes, we all have a body, but like, what if it wasn't even about that? And I like that. I like to explore that. I would like to go about my day not being like, I am the hottest person on the planet, but going, I exist today. And actually, there are more important things for me to worry about than the size of my jeans. Because who cares? Body neutrality focuses on what your body can do for you and not how your body looks. So I like to practice body neutrality when I move my body. I am grateful that I can dance. I'm grateful that I can run and play softball with my friends. My body does that for me. Yay. And not, I love my legs. It's okay if you don't. I practice body neutrality when I share unposed versions of my outfits, and that's different than showing, girls showing their sitting down posed versus unposed versions, because what I'm sharing is how the outfit actually looks on my body when I'm sitting down at my desk, when I'm eating my lunch. Those aren't fake unposed versions of myself. They are just how I look out there in the wild in real life. So I'm showing, this is what it looks like from the side. This is what it looks like sitting down in a neutral way. Not to go, look, I love my outfit from every angle, but to go, my body exists at every angle, and just because you don't see it online all the time doesn't mean that it's not okay. And in fact, most people out in public today are probably going to see me from this version. And my goal in sharing these, and I didn't start this trend, it was started by my friend Chloe, of showing the outfits unposed at every angle. But the goal in sharing these is not for me to eventually love it. It's for you to go, oh yeah, just because I saw my side profile today and it freaked me out, because I don't always see that, everybody else has got a side profile too. It's to take the surprise out of the equation. I'm no longer shocked when I catch a candid photo of myself, or a photo of myself sitting down, or a photo of myself from an angle that I don't always post on the internet, because I've seen it before. And I don't love it. I want to be honest, I don't post a lot of pictures of myself just sitting down, because I think there are cuter poses that I can do. And that doesn't mean I don't love my body, but I feel neutral about it. I know that sitting down me has the same value as standing up me, as cute posed me. I'm not here to tell you that you should love your side profile. I'm here to tell you that it's okay that it exists. And that's kind of the goal of body neutrality. So that's where I end up falling in this body content spectrum. I don't like to associate with the words body positive, unfortunately, because of how the internet has stolen it. And I like to fall closer in the categories of fat acceptance, body confidence, and body neutrality. This is just the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg of this conversation. I have so much more to say about body content on the internet. So tune into part 2 next week. as we continue this conversation, I'm going to hop on my stories also. Feel free to send some feedback about this episode. If there are things that you want me to touch on in part 2, let's talk about it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please like it, leave a review, rate it, share it with a friend. I'll talk to you soon.